Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined our 3-day Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. The next presentation of the day is from Dryden Gold. Please note, you may submit questions for the presenter in a box to the left of the slides, and you can view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Maura Kolb. She's the president of Dryden Gold, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol DRYGF and on the TSXV under the symbol DRY. Thank you, welcome, Maura.
Thank you very much for having me, John. Hello, everybody. I'm Maura Kolb, president of Dryden Gold. I'm a geologist, so I will, of course, be making forward-looking statements. I can't help myself. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on here in Dryden, so thank you again for joining us today. Let me give you a little bit of background about the company. We have been publicly trading about 2 years now on the TSXV, about a little over a year on the OTCQB. We have a stellar management team full of like-minded individuals. So myself, I spent 8 years in the Red Lake camp. And if you don't know the Red Lake camp, it's high grade. It's all about high grade gold. And that's where I cut my teeth. I was an exploration manager for 5 years there with the goal of reducing costs for discovery. So we took the cost from $200 an ounce discovery to $50 and really just started to replace reserves and going back to basic geology to make discoveries. Our CEO, Trey Wasser, you may recognize his name. He was the CEO of Ely Gold Royalties, and he took that company from a $6 million market cap and sold it to Gold Royalty Corp for over $300 million. So we certainly know how to create shareholder value, and that is what we're trying to do here with Dryden Gold, and you'll see our trajectory if you take a look at our trading stock anyway, the last couple of years. So let me tell you a little bit more about the company. We are located in Dryden, Ontario, and that's where the name comes from. This is a unique opportunity. It's an area with very high-grade gold, but it has never seen a systematic exploration approach. It's really always been piecemeal ownership and kind of an overlooked district because this is a forestry logging kind of camp with high-grade gold mining just to the north of us and to the south of us. So it's certainly a unique opportunity to be able to stumble across a brand new exploration camp where you have road access to everything. So certainly that's an upside for us from the jurisdiction perspective. We have a great list of shareholders. I can't say this enough. So management owns over 5%. We have Alamos Gold, Centerra Gold, both with around 10% ownership. You don't see too many small junior companies like this exploring with two major companies backing them, and so that's something I'm very proud of. The rest of our shareholder list is just, I could just name drop for quite a while. Europac Gold Fund, Delbrook Capital, they just cashed in their 30-cent warrants in December, which really has increased our exploration program for this year, and I'll get into that more in a second. We have names like Eric Sprott, who's been in this since the beginning, since we were a private company, Rob McEwen, Rob Quartermain, so it's a great list. We also have coverage from some great newsletter writers like Jeff Clark, Brian Lundeen, Chen Li, and analyst coverage from the street from Claris Securities, CP Capital, Calor Capital, KPG Wealth, and an independent mining analyst, Eric Lemieux. So, we're definitely, you can reach out to others too to see what we're all about. We are well funded, so we have $10.8 million in the bank, and we have an aggressive year planned. So let's get into the story. We're located in Dryden, as I mentioned, but if you don't know where that is, it's just north of Minnesota. Being from the States myself originally, I was like, where the heck is this place? So go straight north of Minnesota, and we're right off the main Trans-Canada Highway, which goes all the way across Canada, and everything that is moved across Canada has to come through our little town. So it's definitely, like I said, a unique opportunity for a new mining district. We are just south of the prolific Red Lake camp, where the Great Bear discovery was made just a few years ago. We also have neighbors like Rainy River and Hammond Reef, which is an eco-eagle. So a really great district to be in. The land package itself was very systematically put together. So the black dashed lines on this map that you're looking at are structures. So you need to be near one of these major structures to have the best chance for high grade gold. And this was studied by Laurentian University here in Canada. The Metal Earth study looked at this and compared Dryden district to the Porcupine Duster Fault in Timmins. And, you know, Timmins is a huge mining camp. So we were very happy with that kind of comparison done, but this area has had almost no work. So it really gives us a great opportunity to make new discoveries and to really create a district scale opportunity here in Dryden. We have 70,000 hectares. That is a huge land package. That really gives us a district play here. Again, with excellent infrastructure, power, rail lines, everything you need to build a mining district here in Dryden. Our exploration strategy is very systematic. So we do smaller passes of drill programs, making sure that we're getting the results we expect, integrating that into our model. We also have incredibly low exploration costs. We're at $250 a meter Canadian. So that is going to be one of the lowest prices you will see anywhere in the world today. When you look at the geology of where we're exploring, we have some very high grade gold. The historic best intercept on the property is 53,700 grams per ton over just a little over half a meter. So that's pretty incredible. We've also followed up with our own great discoveries. So last year we had an intercept of 301 grams per ton over almost 4 meters. We had 55 over 3.5. So some really high grade and on new discoveries within our flagship, the Gold Rock Camp. With such a large land package and such prospective ground, we have a two-pronged approach to exploration. We're growing the Gold Rock Camp, which is where the historic mining took place, where those very high-grade intercepts came from, and trying to show the true potential of that area. As well, we're trying to make new discoveries in our large land package. And so far, we've had some success at Hinman and Sheridan, and I'll talk about those as we get further into the presentation. Now, one of the things that I got really excited about when I decided to join the team back in 2023, I spent all those years in Red Lake, and when I looked at the Gold Rock Camp and the geology there, I couldn't help but notice that there was a very, very similar setting to Red Lake. So we have this folded architecture of the rocks and then cross-cutting faults that intersect that. And what that does is create excellent traps for high-grade gold mineralization. And so I got very excited about the potential here and applying systematic exploration activities, good geologic foundations. I believe we can really understand the patterns here and start to predict high-grade gold. And that's what we've been up to for the past 2 years. We've done a lot of homework on the geology and what controls this. And if you are interested, I have lots of videos on our website and you can dive right into the geology. I'm always happy to explain that. But let's look here at the Gold Rock target area, really where we've spent a lot of our energy over the past 2 years growing and exploring. When we started out with this property, we only had the 3 red lines that you see on this map. Those were the zones we knew about. Those were the areas that we expected to be drilling and expanding or infilling. However, as we started to look at this area, we decided to relog the core, reinterpret the data that was there, do some mapping, and then we also drilled our own holes. And as we did that, we noticed that there were stacked structures. And really what that is that we have more mineralizing structures and more mineralized zones in this 1 by 1 kilometer footprint than we had initially expected. So we've been able to really grow within the same size footprint, a lot more mineralizing targets, and just a lot more ounces of potential. So it's really exciting for us. And we released news just last week on the Pearl target. So when you're looking at this map, we've been targeting a lot on the Elora gold system, where we have some wide, nice grades and mineralization. And we discovered last year with those 2 results I mentioned before, the 300 grams over almost 4 meters and the 55 over 3.5, hanging wall structures. So those are basically parallel structures in front of what we call the Jubilee zone. Now we've been targeting Pearl, which is kind of a sister target to that. from the other side, from the footwall. And we intersected some really significant mineralization there just recently. And that's starting to expand this area even more. And now we're looking on the footwall side for more mineralization. So it's very exciting. We had 6.4 grams per ton over 3.3 meters. We had 77.9 grams per ton over half a meter. So certainly some high grade and some more wide lower grade as well. And then on the pearl itself, we had 1 gram over 16 meters. So pretty consistent, exciting results. And this is all very shallow. So if we look at the next slide, I'm going to show you along the Elora Gold shear here, just kind of what the mineralization looks like and the grades and widths that we're encountering. So we're looking as if we were underground, looking at that vein structure itself. The pictures there are what the rocks look like. So they're sheared and they have gold disseminated throughout. What's really cool about this is that we are seeing pretty good continuity of 10 to 15 gram meter intervals. And that's really what we'll be targeting here because that has great mineability. We have some width to these targets and we're seeing very high grade pockets in the purple color. And we're starting to be able to predict where those are. And that will be part of our exploration program here in 2026. Now, we're starting to predict things at the zone scale, and that's great because that'll keep growing gold rock target area. But one of the things I have a vision for this company is that we have something very significant and a much bigger footprint than that. So one of our goals in 2025, and it'll continue to be our goal in 2026, is to show that we have a deposit scale periodicity, or we can repeat this pattern at the large deposit scale. So last year we were just looking at gold rock, and last year we did a summer mapping campaign and a very small drill campaign on what we call Mud Lake. That is a 2-kilometer step out to the northeast of gold rock. And there we had some great success as well. The drill holes showed the mineralization was not just at surface, but a little bit below there as well. And then as we expanded our mapping campaign to the north, we discovered some very high grade on surface and a really good fertile system, a shear zone up there that could be very similar to what we saw just on the last few slides at the Elora Gold system. So we're really excited about the potential there, and it starts to show a path to something much bigger. So why are we so excited about this? Well, if we look at this example, and again, I spent a lot of time in Red Lake, so I'm going to use that mine as the example. But this long section here on the bottom end of the slide is the Red Lake mine. And it's made up of the Red Lake mine, the Campbell mine, and the Koshner mine. And you looking at that, those are all the zones, you start to see a pattern of this repeating high-grade structures that have a similar orientation until you get to Koshner and they're more vertical, but there's a geologic reason for that. But seeing that repeating pattern, you really create a lot of ounces here. That mine, those 3 mines are about 28 million ounces, so very significant. And what we're trying to do within the Gold Rock camp is show a path to something very significant like that. So having the repeating pattern of Gold Rock, this Mud Lake target, the goal for 2026 is to find another similar size footprint to really show that there is a pattern at the big scale. So a path to a very significant mineralization here. We're going to search, we're going to explore here in the north, but we also have another anomaly to the south that we're going to map and target. So definitely some great opportunities here during our summer campaign in 2026. We really have a pipeline of targets, and I hope you're starting to see that through what I'm discussing here. And that is one of the reasons that we have Centerra and Alamos as major shareholders. They really like to see the systematic exploration approach and a pipeline of targets showing this potential for a district scale opportunity here in Dryden. So I'm going to go through a couple of the exploration targets here quickly. And before I do that, I should speak to something very, very important, especially here in Canada, but I think worldwide. One thing that really differentiates Dryden Gold is that our management team is located here in Dryden in the community we're working in. I'm sitting at my house here in Dryden, right on Wabigoon Lake today, and that really speaks volumes to the community here. It gives us, as I call it, street credit, but the First Nation communities we've been able to build great relationships with because we're part of the community too. We care about the waters here. We truly are invested in this region and doing exploration right. So that's really helped us. We were able to get 3 permits last year for drilling, and we're working on expanding our permitting footprint this year as well. We've already started discussing that with the communities here in Dryden. So let's have a look first, actually slide back, at our exploration target Hinman, because this is a very exciting one. We made this discovery ourselves. So this was a brand new discovery made through a prospecting program we did when we back in 2023 as kind of an initial, let's see what the ground actually looks like sort of program. And we followed that up with more mapping over the past 2 summers. And our best intercept last summer was 23 grams over almost 3 meters, which we cut as a channel sample, which just means we basically cut across the rock on surface. So basically a horizontal drill hole. And that really led us to this new decision to drill this target. We just finished up our very first drill program, the very first drill program ever on Hinman. And I'm very excited because it's a big catalyst for us. If we can make a discovery here and show we have another deposit, that's one more big deal for us here at Dryden Gold, and another step to a district scale opportunity. So let me tell you a little bit about this target. We discovered a granite intrusion, which is kind of like your countertop sort of material. It's more robust and it starts to break on the edges. And that's within a shear zone setting. So we have about a 4-kilometer strike of this intrusion. We have 2 outcrops on it that we've been able to explore and we've had good results on. And we're drill testing that right now. So let me show you what it kind of looks like a little closer. So this is an air photo, which I have the geology drawn over top. This is where our best intercept was from. But we have this intrusion with shearing and veining going through it. And so we're drill testing that now with 6 holes that we've just completed. I expect those results back later in March. And we are very excited about what this potential could be for the company. We also have a discovery that we made down at the south end of the property, and we released these results earlier this year as well, Sheridan. So Sheridan is interesting. It has some very high-grade results on surface, like 617 grams, but in narrow kind of veins. So the predecessor company that first made this discovery thought this had to be a narrow, high-grade shear zone sort of setting. But our team looked at this and thought the textures look different. So we did a small initial drill campaign, 3 holes in 2025, 3 holes now in the beginning of 2026 to test this and look for, a different potential opportunity. What we've seen so far is that there are different textures. We are seeing very broad, low-grade mineralization, 130 grams at 0.2. And now 0.2 grams per ton isn't enough, but it does show the path towards something very different from our typical high grade that we were looking at Gold Rock and even the high grade at Hinman. So the team has taken the data back from the geochemistry, taken the data back from the soil program that we did, from the geophysics that we have, and we're looking for a very different type of target here, a kind of broad, low-grade sort of system, and more work is going on the desktop end to decide where the potential is here and make a further case for more exploration at Sheridan. So I hope you're seeing that we have a very systematic and robust approach to how we explore, really wanting to get the best bang for our shareholders' buck. We have a very aggressive exploration campaign this year. We are well funded, as I mentioned. It's an $11 million exploration budget for us this year, which will be 32,000 meters of drilling. We will target Gold Rock for sure, but about half of our energy will really continue to go growing that high grade gold opportunity. But we will also be looking at the results that come back here at Hinman in the first quarter, and that will help to guide the rest of the exploration campaign. We have some great regional results coming soon. We completed a property-wide soil program, and the reason for that was to get a full geochemical suite across the entire property, which really allows us to look for other anomalies we might have missed or not seen through the geophysics or the previous mapping, and more opportunities for even different types of deposits on the property. So we'll be working through that. Those results should come out soon, and you'll be able to see, where the next potential is on the property. So that's coming soon. We are out marketing lots and lots these days. So if you want to talk to us, please reach out. I think with Dryden Gold, we really are a different story. We have an excellent property with great geologic potential. The team is well suited for this kind of exploration. Myself, that's our VP of exploration on the screen, Anna Hickens. She's a geochemist, My background is structural geology. Those two marry really well and are very important for regional exploration that we're undertaking right now. Our CEO, Trey Wasser, has been able to bring some great shareholders into the story, and we've been able to finance even in a difficult market over the past 2 years. So I hope that we've kind of stand out to you. The jurisdiction is incredible as well, with great road infrastructure to all of our targets and a social license that you don't always have these days. Great shareholders, funding, and we have a very well laid out exploration program for 2026 with some clear catalysts. So we will, one, continue to grow the Gold Rock target area and test this periodicity, not just at the deposit scale with the zones that we're growing, but also at the regional scale, looking for another Gold Rock-like target. We are drill testing and just completed the first program on Hinman, so we'll be pushing that discovery ahead. We're doing further work on our Sheridan target to decide where that fits in our pipeline. And with the regional soil program, we will have some new exploration targets coming out of that. So we're set up for a very, very exciting and busy year. Now I'd like to open it up to, actually leave it on that slide, but I'd like to open it up to any questions that we might have. So give me a second. I see some in the chat, and I'm just gonna open that up. Okay, so one of the first ones, and I might have mentioned this, but I'll bring it up again. So when are you expecting drill results from your Hinman target? And so I do expect those, since we just finished wrapping up that exploration program, that we will see those results late March. So I know everybody's waiting with bated breath on that. I certainly am myself, but we'll get those out as soon as we can. Another question was, how many meters are you planning for 2026 and what targets? The targets will certainly be dependent on the results that we're getting. So we are going to continue to focus on Gold Rock, first and foremost, growing that. We are permitting to be able to drill test at Mud Lake and really expand Gold Rock even more on the kind of deposit scale. And then Hinman, the results that come back from that, I expect them to be positive and kind of deciding how much of our drill budget will go to that. Will you have to raise money this year? We are funded for the entire exploration campaign that we have planned, the 32,000 meters of drilling. So we don't expect to have to raise at all. We have money in the bank also for hard dollars for marketing and for keeping the lights on, all of that. So that's good. Let me read the next one. Yeah, so well, this question is asking, is there a possibility of stripping at Gold Rock target area, especially in these new footwall stacked structures? In Dryden, we've had some pushback from the First Nations about stripping, so we will be certainly assessing that. If there is little cover and it would be easy to do, we certainly will work on that. And we've been working really closely with both communities, close to signing agreements with them to kind of continue to have a path forward for exploration. So it's certainly possible. And there are a few targets that have come out through some of the mapping campaigns that we'd like to expand. And those are actually on the east side of Gold Rock, some of the really grassroots stuff that we'd like to do some stripping on. And for these new structures that we see in the footwall of Pearl, we would like to drill test Jubilee as well in the footwall. I didn't talk about this, but we saw some anomalies. We've just really deep dived into the geochemistry that we have from the drilling, and we see some anomalies towards the end of those Jubilee holes that weren't recognized before. So there will be more work in the footwall overall on that whole trend. What surface? So in terms of surface samples and what we've seen, we did more mapping this past summer. Some of those results will be coming out soon. But at Mud Lake, for example, we got some really high grades there on the north end, 93 grams per ton. Let me jump back to that slide. I can go a little closer. Sorry. You can see it on there. So 93 grams. We also had a 15. We want to do more work there. This is actually one of the areas where we'd like to be able to pull back more of the moss, so to speak, and also continue mapping up to the northeast where the shear zones seem to be intersecting into that Pincher deformation zone. So one question here is, how quickly after drilling can you typically release results? And is the lab capacity a bottleneck this year? We have a really good relationship with the local lab. There actually is one in Dryden itself. So we've been working with them closely. We try to keep them abreast of how many meters we're doing so that they can staff accordingly. So we've been very lucky so far with limited delays compared to most of our friends in this industry. So we have about a 3-week to 4-week turnaround after everything is complete. But the drill process, you drill first, we do oriented core, so it is a little bit longer of a process. We cut all of the core and then it goes to the lab. So it's really about a 2-month from when we start a drill program till we have the results back. Another question here is more funding for next year's drilling. Yeah, and I'm hoping that with the aggressive exploration program that we have, we will see an increase in the share price. We're already seeing that happening already this year. And if you've been following the story for a while, you may have seen last fall, we were really capped at 30 cents. We just could not break through that ceiling. And that was, I believe, due to the 38 million warrants that we had at 30 cents, which we saw big shareholders, Delbert Capital and Europac Gold Fund, cash theirs in. And that really increased our exploration plan this year to, from 6 million that we were planning on spending on exploration to 11 million that we're planning to spend now. So yes, for next year, we will need to raise more money. We did see Centerra also top up, and they're pretty excited about the soil results that we're about to put out. It's another question. We're getting closer to the end, but I think I can answer a couple more. End game. So sale of the company, production timeline, all of that. So for us, the end game for us, really, we believe we're really good at exploring. That's what we want to do. I've worked for companies that are developing projects. I've worked for major companies developing projects. When you have the backing of a major mid-tier kind of company, you have the expertise to really build a mine. It is very challenging as a junior to build a mine. So we don't plan on getting into that business ourselves. We believe we can make the discoveries. We already have some great major and mid-tier companies either watching the story or invested in the story. So I think that's really our exit is, that Explorer 10 plus sort of exit strategy. Great Bear 2.0 is what we really are dreaming to be. And I think we're on a great trajectory with the discoveries we're making to continue to do that. Another question was, are there any other active explorers in the Dryden area, and who are they? Yes, so we have Next Gold exploring just north of us. They have one of the next largest land packages. And then to the south, a very exciting one is Kenorland Minerals, and they really have the rest of this greenstone belt in what I call the moose pasture, where it's seen absolutely no work. They did the first pass of any exploration on this greenstone belt and shear zone to the south last summer with their soil campaign, and they'll be following up. They also have a partnership with Centerra Gold, a JV on that property. So it's really good to see how invested Centerra is in this district. In addition to that, we have, and I can actually go to the slide with the, there, that'll help. Sorry about that. We have Kinross in the camp, and remember that they have Great Bear, which is, just our neighbor to the north here. Also, Dynasty Gold has been having some good results out, and they're in our camp. So there's definitely explorers around here. And if you step out just a little bit further in our district, there's a lot of great resources and a lot of gold exploration going on. Sorry, lots of questions coming in. I should have been closing them off. So another question. So what would be the name of the new area to the southwest of Gold Rock that might be coming of interest? Haven't named it yet. We just saw another similar bend in the geophysics to the south that typically creates great traps for high-grade gold. So that is an area that we're going to look into more. It would be, if you're very familiar with the project, it would be south of the Selby showing. And there was a little bit of work by Can America done in the same region, but we kind of have a bigger idea for that. So that'll be a mapping program for this particular summer. And I think I only have a few seconds left. So at this point, I'm just going to wrap up. And I thank you. I'm sorry for those I didn't get to your questions, but shoot them to our website. We always accept questions there, and I'll try to get to answering all of them. I really appreciate the chance to speak today. Thanks, everybody, for all the great questions.